So first, of course, we have our quotes from Abraham and from the universe. Let's see what Abraham and the universe have in store for us today. First, from the universe. It's not what's happening around you that determines your health, finances, or hotness, but what's happening inside of you exclusively. You hotty, the universe. We love our quotes from Mike Dooley in the universe, chiding us on to remember that it's all about what is going on inside of us. I like to say that we don't really have much choice what happens to us externally, right? The world does what it does. The world happens around us. But we have 100% control over how we respond to what happens to us, right? We don't have any control whether a hurricane is going to hit our town. We don't have any control whether there's an earthquake. We don't have any control whether some crazy guy runs down the street shooting up a bunch of people, which we hope never, ever happens in our experience. But we do have control over how we decide to respond to it and what kind of meaning we make from this experience. Is this an experience that empowers us or that pulls us down? Is this an experience that we can learn from, or is this an experience where we choose to just be a victim? This response is where we have our control. This experience is where that really determines who we are in the world. How we show up, what we show up like, this is determined by that moment between what happens in front of us and how we respond to that incident, that moment, that person, that message, that dialogue. So that's where all the power is. And this is a big thing. And I coach my clients about this all the time. This is where the ultimate power lies. Because nobody can push your buttons unless you allow them to. As there's an old Arabic saying, I believe, that says, they can't get your goat if they don't know where it's tied. So let's not let our goat be tied out someplace out in the open and obvious. As a matter of fact, let's just untie the goat and let it go run wild. Let us learn that we have the power, we have the control, we have the strength to decide. Now, sometimes, we feel that emotion welling up. Sometimes, we feel that like, we want to strangle somebody. And that's okay, right? Our feelings are our feelings. That doesn't mean we have to act on those feelings. It doesn't mean that we literally have to go and put our arms around somebody's neck and strangle them. Right? We have the choice. We can honor our feelings. And our feelings do have a lot of information. They do tell us something about the situation, right? But again, nobody can force you to do anything. Unless, of course, they're holding a gun to your head. And, thank you, Alex, on the Facebook live stream for the hearts. If someone has a gun to our head and is saying, you got to do this or I'm going to kill you. Okay, fine, I'll go with that. I mean, you still have a choice, but, if someone has a gun to your head, you want to live, fine, you don't have a choice. Everything else, we have a choice. We really do. We may need to take a breath. We may need to take a moment to regain our composure. And this is why practices like meditation and practices that help us to be more present are so important, so that when we are in the moment, we're better able to show up, we're better able to be in the moment and show up from an empowered point of view. So, Alex is being active on the live stream. I love it. You're actually implying we're responsible for our actions? Shame on you, Sam. Yes, we are responsible for our actions. I know sometimes some of our political figures don't like to take responsibility for their actions. That's their shtick. That's not our shtick. So, a wonderful quote from the universe. Let's see what Abraham has in store for us today. Quote, Ask and it is given, quote, means that whether you are a full blooming genius human or whether you are the one-celled amoeba in the ocean or a cell in one of your bodies, when it is concluded that something else is preferred, no matter how developed the consciousness is, every time a preference is noted, non-physical energy rushes forth to answer it. It is the promise of our evolving beingness. Abraham. Ooh, wonderful, wonderful quote. Kind of goes hand in hand with the first one. Ask and it is given. Ask and it is given means that when we have a desire, right? When we experience something and it helps to clarify within us that we want something different, merely the act of that clarity helps to call into reality, helps to call into manifestation what it is. What is that thing that we want instead? Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that it shows up immediately. It doesn't necessarily mean that what we're calling in is going to appear right away. But the moment we have that feeling, that thought, that intention, that desire, then we have started down the road towards bringing that thing that we want into reality. And this is why contrast actually serves us. And when we talk about contrast, contrast is experiencing those things that we don't really want. Experiencing those things that just don't feel right, just don't feel good. And every time we experience contrast, it brings within us that desire for something else, for something different. And merely that desire begins the process. All right? It doesn't stop there, but it begins there. Now, the thing is, sometimes people get hung up with this because they think that manifestation should be instantaneous. Well, it's a really good thing that manifestation is not not held as long, like in our intention, so then it doesn't manifest. And that's a good thing. But when something, this desire, this contrast, it's so much a part of us that we feel like we have to have this, and it's ongoing and it's continual, then it begins to manifest. All right? So it's not ask and it is given right away, and that's not the quote. Ask and it is given this instant. No, that's not the way it works. Ask it is given. All right? It means that something else is preferred, and the energy starts to rush into that area where we have asked. All right, that's the beginning of the process. So, two wonderful, wonderful quotes from the universe and from Abraham. And as I like to say, I mean, there are these morning's quotes, and they're very, very apropos for today's guest and for our topic today.